welcome to this deep dive.
Hello.
Today, we're looking at a specific moment involving French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife, Brigitte Macron, that, well, it went viral recently.
That's right. It caused quite a stir, and there was a notable reaction from his office, too.
And we're basing this entire discussion on just one source, a single article that covers the incident and the reaction.
Exactly. So our mission, really, is to unpack what that article reports, what happened, the initial explanation, how that changed, and what the president himself had to say, all based purely on this source.
It's a fascinating glimpse into how a quick moment caught on camera can explode online.
Definitely. And how the narrative around it can shift.
Okay, so let's set the scene according to the article. We're in Hanoi, Vietnam.
Right. Sunday, May 25th, 2025. President Macron is arriving, getting ready to step off plane.
And the video captures this specific instant. A uniformed man opens the door. Macron standing there in a suit.
And then, this is the key part described in the article, suddenly arms appear from behind him. Red sleeves.
Later identified as Brigitte Macron's, right? She was wearing a red blazer.
Yes, that's what the source notes. And these arms, well, they reach out and push him. The article is very specific about the hand placement.
How specific?
It says one hand covers his mouth and part of his nose, and the other hand is on his jaw, a sort of push away from the doorway.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
And his reaction? In that split second.
The article says he turns his head away, seemingly from the push. Then he appears to notice the news cameras filming.
The awareness kicks in. And what does he do then, according to the description?
He quickly switches to a smile and a wave just before stepping out of the frame.
Interesting. The source also mentioned they came down the stairs together later.
It does. It notes he offered his arm, but she didn't take it. And confirms, yeah, she was wearing that red blazer.
So this very brief, kind of strange interaction gets caught on tape. It goes viral, naturally.
Of course.
What was the first word from Macron's office, the Élysée? The article covers this initial response.
It does, and it was quite strong. They initially denied the images were even real.
Denied them completely.
Yes. The article states they denied the veracity and even suggested the video might have been generated by AI.
AI, seriously, like a deepfake. That was the initial official line reported.
That's what the source says. And they didn't stop there.
Oh.
They apparently suggested this supposed AI video was then pushed or promoted by accounts described as habitually hostile to Macron. Pro-Russian accounts were mentioned.
Okay, so step one, deny, claim AI, point fingers at hostile, possibly foreign-linked accounts. That's quite the opening defense, according to this article.
It is, but it didn't last.
What happened?
The article points out that the Associated Press, AP, authenticated the sequence. They confirmed it was genuine footage.
So the video is real. That must have complicated the initial story.
You'd think so.
How did the Élysée pivot then, according to the source, once it was confirmed genuine?
Well, the article shows they shifted gears. They still downplayed it, but the explanation changed completely.
Okay, so no longer AI. What was the news story?
Now, it was described as a moment of complicity. That's the word used.
Complicity, meaning?
The quote from the office, reported in the article, was that the president and his wife were decompressing one last time before the start of the trip by horsing around.
Horsing around. Okay.
Yep. And they added, this is another quote via the source, "It's a moment of complicity. It was all that was needed to give ammunition to the conspiracy theorists."
That is quite a turnaround from a hostile AI deepfake to just, playful complicity or horsing around.
A significant shift in narrative, definitely, as presented in the article.
What about Macron himself? Did he comment directly when asked by reporters?
He did, and he basically echoed that new line from his office.
So, also calling it joking.
Yes. The article quotes him saying, "We are squabbling and rather joking with my wife."
Squabbling and rather joking. Interesting phrasing. And his view on the huge reaction it got.
The source suggests he was pretty frustrated by the scale of it. He felt it was being blown way out of proportion.
How did he put it?
He described it as being turned into a sort of geoplanetary catastrophe.
Okay, that definitely signals some exasperation.
Yeah, you could say that. The article also touched on how the video spread so fast.
Right, the virality aspect.
Yeah.
What did the source say about who was pushing it?
It mentions the video was mainly promoted by accounts that have been accused of being habitually hostile to the French leader.
So that part, the link to hostile accounts, kind of echoes the initial denial, even if the video's origin story changed from AI to real.
It does seem to align in that aspect, yes. The source connects the promotion to those specific types of accounts.
And it sounds like, from the article, this wasn't an isolated incident for Macron in terms of dealing with viral videos he considers false or misleading.
No, he apparently brought up other recent examples himself.
What other things did he mention, according to the source?
He specifically referenced claims that he shared a bag of cocaine,
Whoa.
that he'd had a fight with the Turkish president, and then this incident with his wife being framed, as he saw it, like a domestic dispute.
And his position on all of these viral stories, the cocaine, the fight, the push.
The article says he was very clear. He stated, quote, "None of these are true."
A flat denial across the board for those claims.
Unequivocal, based on the reporting.
Did he have any, final word on this whole phenomenon of viral clips?
His reported concluding remark was pretty blunt. Everyone needs to calm down.
Right. So just to recap the journey based on this one article, a real moment caught on camera, an initial denial calling it AI and blaming hostile actors, then authentication proves it's real, leading to a new official explanation of horsing around and complicity, and finally, Macron himself calls it joking, links it to other false viral stories about him, and tells everyone to calm down.
That sums up the sequence of events and responses as laid out in the source, yes. It's quite the arc for a few seconds of video.
What strikes me, reading how the article presents it, is that huge gap between the initial, very technical denial AI, disinformation, and the later, much more, human explanation, just joking around.
Absolutely. And the article highlights how something seen one way by the people involved, or at least explained that way later, can look totally different to the public online.
Especially when amplified by accounts the source identifies as hostile.
Right. It really underscores the challenge, doesn't it? Managing perception around these spontaneous moments when they instantly go global. The speed is incredible.
Yeah, the initial claim, the quick debunking by the press, the rapid pivot in the official story, it all happens so fast.
It does.
So reflecting just on what this single article describes, it really makes you think about how narratives get built and rebuilt online, especially around public figures, how official lines can change when confronted with facts.
And that gap between perhaps private intent, if it was just joking, and public interpretation in this age of instant viral visuals. It's definitely something to keep in mind as you navigate the information you see online every day.